Today, we're diving into one of the wildest and most chaotic stories to ever emerge from Australia's criminal underworld. Imagine this, a gang founded by a 19-year-old. This is the story of the Brothers for Life gang and their bloody rivalry with the Alameddine crime family. So how did it all begin? Who are the key players? And why has this gang war dragged innocent people into its crossfire? Our story takes us back to the early 2000s. Sydney's streets were already dealing with rising crime, but then a name surfaced that changed everything. Hamzy. At just 19 years old, Bassam was already in prison, convicted of murder. For most people, prison would be the end of the line. But for Bassam, it was just the beginning. From behind bars, he founded one of Australia's most notorious gangs, Brothers for Life. What set it apart was how he ran it, like a business empire. Using smuggled phones, Bassam called the shots from his cell. He wasn't just playing the crime game, he was rewriting the rules. The gang wasn't just about drugs and money, though there was plenty of both. It was about loyalty, power, and status. Members drove flashy cars, wore designer clothes, and made sure the world knew who they were. Joining was simple: $70 for a gang t-shirt and a willingness to dive into chaos. For young, ambitious criminals, it was a fast track to the high life. But with all that glitz and crime came serious attention. Police launched a special task force targeting Middle Eastern organized crime. Did that intimidate the gang? Not at all. In fact, members got tattoos of the task force's acronym, MIOC, as if to mock the authorities. Brothers for Life quickly expanded across Sydney, especially in the drug trade. Money poured in, and some members flaunted their wealth like celebrities. It wasn't uncommon to see teenagers with no job driving Audi Q7s. That was the gang's style. However, every empire has cracks. As the gang grew, internal rivalries began to surface. Bassam tried to keep control from prison, but tensions flared. The Bankstown chapter, made up mainly of Lebanese members, and the Blacktown crew, consisting mostly of Afghan members. Things boiled over when someone from Bankstown called the Blacktown members Afghan dogs, a slur that ignited a series of revenge attacks, betrayals, and shootings. One of the most devastating moments was the murder of Yahya Ahmad. Another leader, Samir Hijazi, barely survived an attack and fled to Lebanon. Back in prison, Bassam was furious. His once powerful empire was collapsing, and he could do little to stop it. In an effort to restore order, he brought in Farhad Kelmi, a brutal enforcer known for his no-nonsense approach. Farhad was supposed to clean up the mess, but instead, the gang teetered on the edge of total collapse. What started as a tightly controlled organization was now spiraling into chaos. The streets of Sydney were becoming a battleground, not just between Brothers for Life and police, but also between rival crime families. Bassam may have been the mastermind, but the situation was slipping beyond even his control. By 2012, the gang was a full-blown criminal powerhouse and a ticking time bomb. Farhad Kelmi ruled with an iron fist. Under his leadership, loyalty wasn't optional. Orders had to be followed, or there were consequences, brutal ones, but not everyone supported Farhad's leadership. Tensions hit a breaking point in late 2012 when Yahya Ahmad was assassinated outside a Greenacre home. His death sent a clear message. The Blacktown faction, led by Farhad, was taking over, violently if necessary. This wasn't a clean power shift. It was chaotic and bloody. Retaliation followed quickly. Samur Haya, a prominent Blacktown member, narrowly escaped death in a revenge hit. The gang was tearing itself apart, but the violence didn't end there. In March 2013, Bassam's own aunt was targeted in a horrifying assassination attempt. A gunman stormed her Auburn home and fired 21 shots. She miraculously survived despite being hit 8 times in the hips and legs. The message was clear: no one was safe, not even family. That same year, police intensified their efforts. In November, they arrested Mohammed Moody Alameddine, the Bankstown chapter's president, along with several other high-ranking members. Moody received decades in prison for his role in Yaya's murder and other crimes. The arrests dealt a huge blow to Brothers for Life, but the gang wasn't finished. Farhad Qaumi stepped up as leader and wasted no time asserting his control. The gang became even more brutal under Farhad Qaumi. In 2017, police dealt a significant blow to the gang during a massive crackdown. Farhad and his brothers were arrested, effectively dismantling the Blacktown faction. Farhad was sentenced to 60 years in prison, with no chance of parole for at least 43 years, a major win for law enforcement. But even with both Farhad and Bassem Hamzy behind bars, Brothers for Life still posed a serious threat. While searching Bassem's cell at Goulburn Supermax, authorities discovered a flash drive containing gang-related materials, including Brothers for Life's disturbing creed: courage, honor, no mercy, mercy for the weak, family for life. This raised critical questions about how Bassem was still managing to direct gang operations from inside prison. The answer pointed to internal corruption. Investigations revealed that one of Bassem's lawyers had been smuggling contraband into the prison. When authorities moved to restrict his communications, Bassem represented himself in court and surprisingly won. It was a stark reminder that even from a prison cell, Bassem Hamzy remained a force to be reckoned with. The gang was weakened, but the violence didn't stop. Brothers for Life had become a monster. Even its founder could no longer control, and Sydney was about to enter an even bloodier chapter. With Farhad imprisoned and Bassem's influence slipping, one might have expected the gang to collapse, but instead, things became more violent. By 2019, internal divisions had deepened, and a new, dangerous rivalry was emerging, not just over leadership, but over the Hamzy family itself. The turning point came on October 19, 2020, when Bassem's brother, Majid Hamzy, was gunned down outside his home. Security cameras captured two masked assassins, lying in wait. As Majid stepped outside, they opened fire. Despite being hit, Majid attempted to flee on his bicycle, but collapsed outside a friend's home and died from his wounds. His death was a game changer. Majid wasn't just Bassem's brother, he was a key figure in the family and the gang. Losing him was not only a personal tragedy, but also a major blow to Brothers for Life's credibility and power. Majid's murder ignited a full-scale gang war between the Hamzys and the Alameddines, turning Sydney into a battlefield. Drive-by shootings, brutal assaults, and daylight executions became alarmingly common. Burnt-out getaway cars were found regularly across the city. Innocent people began getting caught in the crossfire. On January 30th, 2021, Mustafa Naman was shot and killed in Hurstville, a case of mistaken identity. The intended target was Bassem's cousin, Ibrahim Hamzy. That same day, another man, Majid Derwish, was found dead inside a burned-out vehicle in Smithfield. On February 15, 2021, a failed assassination attempt took place at World Gym in Prospect. The hits kept coming. A few months later, Bilal Hamzy was executed in broad daylight in Sydney's CBD, a calculated high-profile hit that sent shockwaves across the city. The cycle of retaliation seemed endless. Police were doing what they could to contain it. The Alameddine clan began targeting anyone even remotely connected to the Hamzy family, even relatives with no involvement in criminal activity. The situation was spiraling out of control. By 2023, the war was still raging. Despite being locked away, Bassem Hamzy continued to influence the gang through the Illawarra chapter of Brothers for Life, keeping his name feared in the streets. But tensions were rising within his own family. Younger members like Ibrahim Hamzy were stepping into leadership roles. Law enforcement was doing everything in their power to disrupt the violence, but both crime families were deeply entrenched and unwilling to back down. The question now is, will Bassam's legacy survive, or will Ibrahim lead the Hamzys in a new direction? And can the Alameddine succeed in eliminating their rivals for good? As of 2023, Sydney's streets are still a battleground. The reign of the underworld continues, and only time will tell how it ends. Thanks for watching. If you found this story intense and eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of organized crime and underworld mysteries. For more gripping content like this, follow us at Crime Cypher, where the truth is always darker than fiction. Stay safe, stay curious, and thank you for your support.